Yes, you're running. Go live. Hello everybody, Dren608 here. Another in our series of Unconditional Surrender, the CUCU campaign, solo playthrough. Game designed by GMT, or designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games, developed by Mark Dye. We are in October of 1942. In September, the Soviet Union was collapsed. So we are now in the Moscow Treaty. Around in that same time that they collapsed, the British made an invasion at Suez. Like I said, I'm Dren608. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. That helps the algorithm in YouTube when people are trying to find videos on unconditional surrender. Also helps motivate me to keep trying to make these things. If you really like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notify button. Then you'll know when I'm going to schedule another stream and or publish another video. I do both. I also play this game using the Vassal module. I have a series there that's also along the same strategy line called the CUCU strategy line. That's my name for it. Stands for Cripple UK Collapse USSR. So CUCU, so it's CUCU, right? This version that you're seeing here is not the Vassal version. This is the board game arena version, developed by Lunalol. He did a very good job here. There's a few little minor things that are a little bit off. One of them was when the Soviets were collapsed and the Italians had to repatriate. I could not repatriate into Libya, which is an overseas possession, which you should be able to do because it was not a home defense issue. It was just being placed in, things you control. When I left Vichy, France, when I conquered France and I had Italian units in Vichy, they were allowed to go into Libya. So it's just sort of a little glitch in the code. Makes it a little bit harder because I really wanted to have that Italian aircraft down here, like at Tobruk, so I could fly it over here to play with the British Air Force with more sorties than what I'll have now. So it's a little bit stretching on my resources for the Axis to try and contain this British invasion. But we will see how it goes. Anyway, as far as declaring war on anything, the Germans do have a pro marker in Spain. And to take a quick look at the Diplomacy Cup, there's one pro-Western, one pro-Axis, and a political failure, and 6 no events. So the Germans do not have a lot of chances to get us political success and bring Spain in. When the West pulls, the political failure could bring Spain in, but a pro-Western would take it out. And a pro-Axis would bring it in, but a political failure for the Axis would not really do much to me. I think it would like put Sweden to being pro-Allied. But that's about all that would happen in that situation. Okay? So the West is fairly scanty in England, but they do have the American task force is sitting here. And I believe on their build card, maybe it's not yet. Do they have? Oh, and then they moved the 1st Canadian into Gibraltar, assuming the worst, that Spain was going to come in, so they wanted to have it garrisoned. So the 1st Canadian will be hanging out in Gibraltar with Home Fleet and the convoy, trying to keep things going. The Germans do have their surface. Do they have surface action? They do not have the surface action. They tried to keep that guy out of supply last turn. But they do have their submarines, and they do have a heavy artillery, so they might be able to do an assault in the Middle East and cut off the British supply line. We'll see how that works out. Anyway, as far as declarations of war go, Axis isn't interested, and neither are the Allies at this point, or Soviets can't. The Germans have, based on strategic warfare, I think they're down factory, right? So they're at 15, minus 2 is 13, plus 1 for an extra factory is 14. So they're only at 28 production points. They're going to have a few things to move around and airplanes to mess up with. They don't need to give anything to the Finns or the Yugoslavs. They are going to give one to the Turks and the Italians. So they got to remember to save 5 for the end. I don't think I need to give one to the Turks at this point. So I think we're going to go without giving one to the Turks because I don't really have anything to move with the Turks per se. I mean, I want to bring one of their armies. I've got 3 points, so I can bring one of their armies or 2 of their armies down here. I made a mistake last turn. The West should have actually had this American fleet and convoy. Should have taken the 10th and put it in the Arabian Sea because that would have forced him to use a strategic move to garrison Kuwait, which he doesn't need to do right now. So he can use a strategic move to do something else. So that was an oops on my part for the West. I'm not going to transfer anything else, so I'm done. And there's no things here. There's only strategic warfare against the West. My factory loss marker is at 4. The Germans are at 2. The Germans are most likely going to play that submarine. So if you do the math real quick, the best you can roll with the Allies is a 6. Plus 2 is an 8. That means it's going to become a 4. The worst that the Germans can roll is a 6. Okay. And if I throw my partisans in there, then they would become, the worst they can get is a 3. The best I can get is a 4. I can't take him down a factory, so he's going to get 1 back. I might get 1 back for the British, but then I lose the partisans. Considering that I'm expecting a whole lot of Germans here very soon, I think I want to take the factory hit and go after the partisans. Use the partisans to try and take this Italian out or something along those lines. At least makes the Axis think on those lines, okay? They've got to think about all that kind of stuff, all right? That's the kind of things they have to pay attention to at this point in time. So if I make him think about it with the partisans, I can always try to use the partisans at a later date. If you look at the turn track, let's go up here and look at the turn track real quick. He won't get another submarines, and depending on what he die rolls. I don't see another Ultra till February. I get mine in February and March. So I'm kind of resigned to the idea that I'm probably not going to do well in strategic warfare here for the next few months. He has a sub here, and I think he gets his airdrop marker. What does he get as another sub? We get another sub. Oh, and he gets another sub next month. So for me, it's kind of like I don't see a reason to not try and keep the partisans, to use it for trying to make some sort of minor breakout here, because I do have an American surprise attack marker. So the partisans might come in handy trying to force an invasion or something like that. So I'm going to hang on to it because I'm going to need it here in the winter months. Okay. So I'm not going to use it. The Germans are going to use theirs, so they get their factory back. So, like I said, the worst it's going to be is a 6-4, which means I'm going to lose 1 as the West. And he rolled a 5 plus 5 is a 10. I rolled a 2 plus 2 is a 4. I would have been halved to 2 anyway. If he'd have halved a 10 to a 5, if I'd thrown my partisans, I still would have lost the factory. This way, I still have the partisans. The math was against me. Until I can get my bombing campaign to work, the math is against me, making headway to getting my factories back. But I did have, enough to have 20 for this turn. I'll have 18 next turn, probably 16 the following. When do I get my Lend-Lease? Oh, I get Lend-Lease next turn, so I'll still be at 20 next turn, and then I'll drop down to 18 the following turn. So I'm okay with the British. I have a decent amount of production points. I'd like to have more, obviously, but not at this point. I do have 8 of my 9 factories. Okay, so now we're doing a strategic move with the Germans. Now, like I said, because they didn't put anything to threaten the invasion at the Kuwait area, this lets me go ahead and grab a German here. Let's see. This armored unit here can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He can get all the way to Istanbul. So I don't need to move him. I'm thinking one of these like this German armored here or this one, need to get themselves over to the west. Where's all my armor? There's one, there's two, there's three. The other one. What do I do with the other one? There's only three. Did I not have one? Where's my 4th armored unit? Wow, I don't know what I did with my 4th armored unit. Do I have an armored unit to build? Oh, I have an armored unit to build. That's right, I did lose an armored unit. In September. I lost an armored unit. That's right. They took out an armored unit on me before I could take out the Soviets. So there's that. This will be built in the West. So I just need to probably get this armored unit over here. Hello, armored unit. Let us rail you down here to the border with Spain in the hopes that we're going to get Spain in our side. Da, 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 da. Here it comes. Taking the French rail line here, all the way to the coast and down the coast to south of Bordeaux. All right, we're done. All right. Strategic movement for the Brits. There's really nothing. I mean, these guys are all sitting in the invasion 2 ports in this. I've got the U.S. task force as a reaction thing, or I can invade with it if I need to. I didn't declare war on North Africa, on French North Africa specifically because I did not want to give the possibility of an Axis ally. I mean, he's got enough. He has enough allies as it is. He's got Italy, Romania, Turkey, Yugoslavia, and Finland. He doesn't need any more. Although that American is probably, the more I think about it, the more I think that that American army really needs to be here in Edinburgh so that it can threaten to invade into Norway and kind of hit him on both the Middle East and in Norway so that he has to split his commands. But I really don't have a strategic move that I can see. Do I have anything over here? No, there's no useful strategic move here. So, yeah, we're just trying to expand our beachhead. We really need to get another port, preferably Port Said, and push him off the Suez so we can supply through the canal and into the Western Indian Ocean and just keep ourselves busy here. Try and draw the Germans here, keep them out of Spain. We'll see how that all works out. All right. I don't have one with the West. So we go into the Soviets. So this is just sort of trying to conserve because you only have 16 production points and you want to save 5 for diplomacy stuff. So anything that's expensive, like this guy, which is 2, are the ones that I tend to move via, rail somewhere. Like just go ahead and put him right there. It's like, yeah, he could have marched there, but that saves me 2 production points. So that's the kind of stuff I'll do. I'll move the armored units into places as well the same way. Every turn I've got like 2 armored here. 2 armored? Did I have some more armored down here somewhere? There's one over here, so that's 3 armored. So that's what I'll... over the next several months, I'll be moving the armored up and any guards units that I have. I don't know what I have a lot in the kaput pile too that I have to rebuild. Like there's an armored and some shock armies. I think there might even be a mobile army in here. That's all shock armies. I don't know where my other mobile army got to. Oh, it's up here. So I'll have to spend 2 points to get him on a rail line, but then he'll be railed after that. So it's just it's a slow, steady, tedious process for the Russians to basically move all their infantry up onto the line, and then you try not to use up. You're going to end up with a bunch more in the upgrades. You're going to end up with like 7 more guys in the upgrade and 3 or 4 armored unit upgrades. Do not use them until you're like in November of 43, like right before you're going to possibly come into the war. That's when you want to use all those. It's cheaper to move the regular infantry than it is to move the mobile stuff. And it also keeps the Germans guessing on exactly where you're going to decide your main push is. He can kind of tell based on where your armor is, but your armor can be sitting in a place where it can move like to the north or to the south by sitting it in the center. So it's sort of a little strategy tip there. Don't give the Germans any more information than they need to get. And you can place your armored like right around here in Bryansk. It can move in one turn, it can move to the north, or it can move to the south, depending on where you finally decide you want to do your invasion or do your breakout against the Germans. And that's going to be based on what the Germans throw in front of you in which fronts. So, you know, deception is part of the game at this point. All right, so we're in the action subphase for the Axis. So the first thing I want to make sure I do is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm just going to take these 2 airplanes and I'm going to put them here. Because that's on a hex bordered with Poland. And I think I can do that in Posen is the same thing. It's a hex that borders on Poland. So that means that they're still satisfying the eastern home defense, because without the Soviets in the war, you actually have to use both east and west. You can't double up for stuff that's inside Germany. But those guys will be sitting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the backside is pretty much covered as far as bombings go, from Dresden, Prague, Vienna, Königsberg, and whatever this hex is, Posen. So those factories will be defendable by aircraft against bombers. This guy's not, not the healthiest for interdicting bomber runs. But then again, the British didn't have a chance to rebuild theirs last turn because of production point shortages by doing their invasions and stuff. Okay, so that was one thing. One of the things you want to do. See how far your armor can get. Oh dear. Nobody's here, so okay. Hey, 7, 8. I'm trying to figure out how I can get them across the isthmus and doing well. This back guy doesn't really go well there. So maybe I take him down to the other side. Trying to think, it's such a long time since I've had to think this far ahead. I have to think like 4 turns ahead. Where do I want my armor? Where do I want my aircraft? How can I supply them? All that kind of junk I have to actually pay attention to now. That's the one thing when you're fighting in Soviet Union, it's like just make sure your rail lines are cleared back to Germany, right? But now we're going to go fight in North Africa. North Africa, we've got to make sure that we can secure the Italian fleets, which means sending probably a German air into Italy. Probably going to need a German air and the Italian air in the Middle East to help take it back. So I've got a lot of things I got to think about, and the question is do I need 2 armored units? Yeah, I think we'll do it that way. We'll put this one here. Just in case he decides to bring the Greeks in, then I can run this armored unit against the Greeks. This armored unit cannot quite get across the straits. What do I do now? Yeah, I'll have to do that. I have to think about whether I really wanted to send both armored units down there. This airplane is going to take a long flight this way. Maybe. Unfortunately, it's the middle of the day, so BGA is probably getting filled up, and my computer's rather old. Give you an idea, I'm still running Windows 8.1, so that's how far behind my computer is on what's going on in the world. I will go ahead and stick German aircraft on the toe. What do I do? Okay, so if it's there, it's going to take me a couple turns to get the German aircraft back that way. I'm going to have troubles supplying here very soon. I've got to bring the Italian aircraft just to get itself over here. Not sure what to do. I'm so confused. Because I want to make sure I don't spend, I have a lot of airplanes that I have to rebuild here. And my convoy. Don't have to worry about, where's my weather? Okay, it's severe so I don't have to worry about invasions coming at me like in Norway or anything like that. Because it can invade in severe. But it is fair in the Med, so he could try to come and invade. Like he could try to run an invasion like out of Malta, knowing that he has people in the Middle East, and like run an invasion in Malta to Benghazi or Tripoli, although Tripoli would be really hard to pull off. You have to do a lot of logistic jumping through hoops. So I think we're fine, okay? Don't really want to get in range of the British air. Or do I? I do need to get in the range of the British air because I need to defend this guy. So make his air use up his sorties, taking out mine. So this guy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe here. I probably need to be close enough to actually help in some sort of an attack too. So let's go into here. Yeah, I don't have very many sorties, so it's probably going to be one attack at most with that Italian aircraft. if I attack this turn. 1, 2. We got here. Lots of Russian. Nothing for the... Oh, I've got a huge surprise attack marker I need to rebuild for the British. But I've got to establish my beachhead, so that's not going to happen for a long time. Okay, so I don't have to worry about that. So I want to leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a garrison. He makes 8. So those guys get left behind. The rest of these guys start moving eastward or westward. So head to the west. Down the rail lines. That way, if I have a spare strategic move, I can always just move them by rail. So, but I'm just trying to get these guys. Right now, the biggest threat that you're going to face with the Germans is Western invasions. So you want to get someplace where you can stop that nonsense. Right now, I don't have my airdrop marker, and I've not rebuilt my surprise attack marker. So at some point here in the winter, I'm going to have to not do much of anything and try to rebuild my surprise attack marker so that I have it in 43 to kind of take care of whatever the stinking British are doing to me. Okay. All right, so that's basically movement. I'm not going to bother to spend the points to move on that front. I'm going to be doing like 18 points worth of airplanes. Something like that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 12. This is 15, and 2 is 17. So I technically can move like 3 more if I'm assuming that I'm not going to get anything flipped from a combat. Such decision. Do I need to... Trying to think if I need to move anything for real here. Let me do some minors movement. Oh, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I want to spend any more points? I almost have to go after Greece, don't I? Shoot. I think I almost have to go after Greece at this point. Because I'm going to need pro markers. Oy. Well, with that thought in mind, we're going to move this Yugoslav to here. I get 2, right? Yeah, we're going to do that. And then we're going to move this Yugoslav forward as well. Well, heck specs. Yeah, I'm going to have to line up for a possible invasion of Greece here. Don't really want to do it, but I think I'm going to have to. At least I have to have the threat on the horizon so that if he gets a political... like if I get a political failure and he activates Greece, Or let's say I get a political failure. He activates Greece, then he pulls a political success and takes out Spain. Then the war is in Greece. So I need to have my guys ready to go into Greece, even though if they are only minors. By sheer numbers, I can wear down the Greeks. The problem is that it's going to give him this stinking island, which I really, really detest having to give him. But that's the way it goes because I don't have surprise attack marker to take it away from him. Kanya on Crete is a very, very good port for allied fleets. With that in mind, I'm just going to bring this German. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Man, I'm stupid. Now I remember what I was going to do. Alright, we're going to fly here to Taya. We're going to fly to here. Where the heck was I going to go? Is it here? I think it's here. Yeah, I think it's there. And then that's what I was thinking I was going to do. Where's my... See, the Italian convoy, since I can't be intercepted, so I'm not going to put any sorties on that fleet. I'm going to sail this convoy. I knew I was thinking of doing something shenanigy, and this is my shenanigans. So these armored units shouldn't have moved this way. One of them should have moved. They should have moved east. Because I bring this convoy to here. And then I do a naval transport. Yeah. And I bring him into Alexandria. Yeah. And we bring him out through the advantage of having Turkey on your side as the axis. So now I have a German armored unit here. Now, mind you, I'm going to have to supply these guys, so my convoy situation is going to be precarious at best. But the thing I'm going to do, you see my one fleet there has one. I'm also going to bring this fleet. Scroll over a little bit. I'm going to put this fleet in here. And that gives me some fleet protection from my convoys, even though my convoys are at 2 sorties each. I have some fleet protection from air bombing from the British Air Force. His fleets can't intercept me because he can't go through the canal to intercept, so I'm safe there. This Turk can get... Dang, I can't quite get to Jerusalem, can I? Dang. Well, hopefully the German infantry will hold on that. So I've got 18 left with the Germans, so I'm pretty much done with the Germans. I'm going to move a couple of Turks here. Yeah. End this one. This guy's got to come down to give the British some fits as well, so he'll come down to here. Maybe, if he wants to move. Hello, Turkey! Move your dude. Turkey! First Army, please move. Why are you not moving? There we go. Zoom. He goes down there. Now I got one more left with the Turks. Oh, he's down there. Okay. So, if the British get around to knocking off this Turk, he will end up in Mersin, most likely. The reason being is Mersin is the supply line back into Turkey for the Turks. So it's kind of important to be in this area with something. Because the British would nothing better if they get into the Med over here. There's nothing better than landing at Mersin and then all these Turks that are south in the Middle East, they all go out of supply, and they have to like race back to get back their supply line. So, all right, Turks, Yugoslavs, Romanian, Italians are not going to move anything because they're going to want to do airplane, convoy, fleet. This guy's in a good defensive position. It's -2 to hit him from just about everywhere. And he's backed up by a German armored unit. I'm weak on this side, but we discussed this last time. Even if he attacks across this way, it's 1 for the canal, 2 for the swampy or desert terrain or whatever that is, the rough terrain here. So that's 3 movement points, and then 1 for the guys. 4 movement points. If he hits that, that's 4. And then it would be 4 to come back across here, to come up this way. The only way to do it is you go 4, and then 5, and then 6, 7, 8, but then he still is on that side of the Suez Canal, which keeps me from bringing a fleet in there through the canal. I have to come through the middle of the Mediterranean, where he's going to have airplanes in the future, as well as the Italian fleet. Yeah, the Italian fleet's not that great, but it can run up your sorties ridiculous. And remember, we already know that the British are going to be losing some factories here for the next few turns, because they have no ultras, and they're trying to hang on to the partisan in case they need it for an invasion somewhere or something like that. So, I think... Oh, Finns. Well, let's go to Finland. Where are we at with the Finns? Okay. Finns, and more Finns. Move this Finn. Down to here. This is a long-term thing. This garrison, the West Finn or whatever, is going to end up in this little space here, 1445, which is where the Soviets like to leave an army there to keep Leningrad from being isolated. He's going to be put there just to keep the Russian army from just running into Finland. And this German infantry, when I get the points, will end up in Helsinki. This Finn will end up here. This Finn will be holding here, and will be weak in the north. But if the Russians want to spend a couple of their some of their assets and a few of their, precious few turns that they have, trying to conquer Finland from the north, more power to them. I applaud them for going ahead and doing it, but if I can make the Russians waste 2 or 3 turns to do that, at least, I'm a very happy person. Because that's 1944, and the game's going to end in July of 45. If he's going to waste some turns mucking about with Finns, I'm all for it. Let him go right ahead and muck around with the Finns. Okay. I am done with the Axis. Oh, I gotta hit that guy. There is he. He's done. Da da da. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8. So another turn. By the end of the year, he'll be in place. And then this guy will move here, hopefully, and this guy will go there, and then I'll be done with the northern front. I'll be doing something similar with the Romanians down here. This Romanian, once we know what we're dealing with Greece, this Romanian will go and sit on the isthmus here, just to keep him from walking across and recapturing Sebastopol. And then the German infantry will kind of line up here in the plains. They'll be backed by armor when the time comes. They'll have an armored unit behind them. Same thing up here. There'll be sort of German infantry along the line, with backed by a German armored, hopefully, and then minors like a Yugoslav and an Italian and maybe even a Turk, depending on how the Middle East goes. So we just have to wait to see how all that pans out. So I am done with the Axis, I think. So we're done. Say we're done. Done. Not going to remove anything. Da, da, da. Yes. So first off, we supply all without convoys. So we don't have to worry about any of the convoy people. Basically everything that's on the mainland. So now we have to go in here. So this guy's going to go to Oslo. This guy's going to go to Oslo. He's going to be supplied through... All right, where are we at here? This guy's in Tripoli is going to stay at limited supply. This guy is... Oh, which one is he? Got to keep my guys straight here, because this is... I need to turn on the little showy me thingies. Where is it that don't shows? I need to show the units, because I got to see the... Alright, what does this say? I could just zoom in the map, couldn't I? I'm lazy. Let's just zoom in the map here. So that looks like that's the 9th. Yeah, that's the Italian 9th. So the 9th has to stay in supply. But this guy here, in Alexander, this guy is going out through... oh, he can't... How does he get supply? Oh, Port Said. Okay. So this guy over here... So the 1st is actually going to go... get supplied out of Baghdad. The 8th, which is over here, holding down Tripoli, is going to stay... Wow, I'm up to 4? How am I up to 4? So he goes to Oslo, he goes to Oslo. He has to go to Helsinki. This guy gets armored and Air Force. So I didn't want him to go to 4 each is my problem. Because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6, but I wanted them to both be at 5s. Ugh. Never enough convoys to fight this war is the problem. Be careful he takes Port Said. No, I don't. I'm gonna let him go into low supply, save myself a sortie. I don't think all these other guys I need to keep in supply. So yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably should not have brought this German aircraft down here. Oh well, that's the way I'm going to do it. So we're going to supply these guys this way. I'll let this guy go up to 6. And now it's the West. Now it's the West. This is terrible. One of the things we do need to do is we do need to get this threat set up right now. Or wait a minute, I have to look at what's my convoy situation look like here? I'm at 4 and 1. Americans would come in and be at 2. So they could survive for 2 turns if they make it through the aircraft fight. Alright, so I need to move these guys out. So this is logistics nightmares for the British. You will deal with this your entire game. You want to play the Western Allies? You need to learn all about this kind of convoy and fleet shuffling. So I'm taking both of these guys, and I'm going to move them into this box. Move them into this box. I guess I'm not going to move them into this box. Why are you not moving where I want you to go? Go into the box. Go into the box. There we go. So confirm the naval pact. Get out of there. All right. Now we're just going to go ahead and naval transport this guy with that convoy and the med fleet. And what we're going to do is we're going to confirm the escort, and we're going to set ourselves up so that we can invade from the Arabian Sea, even if it is with only a garrison. This will make him have to do something, because there is a threat here. Not much of one, but there is a threat. And that's where we confirm. And then what you do is you take this convoy, the American convoy, along with the fleet, since it's going to cost a sortie either way, and you get them into Suez. Now you could have brought the garrison into Suez, but at this point I don't think that's going to work, because the garrison would become a weak link. And we're trying to hold out long enough to maybe get the American aircraft down here, which takes us up to this box. Where's the American fighter? American fighter is here. British fighter here. British bomber isn't worth duty squat. When do I get the American bombers? American bombers don't show up till next year, so he's not going to have to worry about bombing campaigns for me. Do I want to get the American aircraft? No, see, I'm starting in this box, so this is just to show me where I can get to. I'm not going to escort, I'm just going to check something. So scroll down the map, scroll way over here. And if I counted right, I can get to here. One, I can get to here with 0. So that one convoy in the Eastern North American box can actually get all the way to Suez and land there. So I'm not going to move it. I'm just going to undo this. And not move him. So that he can be at 0 and be able to like come in here and fill out supply for me as needed. Okay. So that's the kind of, this is the kind of shenanigans you actually have to pay attention to as the Western allies. Too many people don't pay attention to the sortie counts and where everything is and what it can be hit with, and that can be disastrous. You end up losing things that you shouldn't necessarily lose. In my case, I don't think I can hold out anyway, but the hope is to hold out long enough that keeps the gives me a chance to get rid of Spain. If Spain is not on the horizon, then in the summer of 43, the Germans have to decide, am I going to invade Spain just so I can go try and get a medlock and take Gibraltar? Or do I let the British play around in North Africa and whatnot, and I just try and hold on? You know, I have 79 will points. They're not going to beat me by killing the German army. They'd have to kill it like 4 times, which isn't going to happen, okay? So, you know, I can concentrate on keeping my economy healthy, bolstering up the Italian mainland, and let the Western Allies in 1943, you know, slog their way across North Africa and come after me in Italy at the late 43. That's fine. A historical timetable here with me having collapsed the Soviet Union isn't going to work, because the Soviets are going to be starting way back here at the beginning of 44. The whole summer of 44, they're going to be trying to get to like Romania and Poland, which, you know, with proper German defense is going to be hard to do. But even if they did get that far by the end of 44, if that's where they're at, I still will have like 50 will points a minimum, maybe more, probably in the 60s. That means they got to take every city. And taking every city is very hard to do coming up through Italy. They're going to have to come into France, or they're going to have to go north through Norway. And that's the campaign in Norway is tricky. It can be done. I've seen fairly good campaigns go off there. But the Germans can see it coming because you have a long way to march and get there. From the France thing, you can see it coming, but there's little you can do to stop it. Cross-channel invasions, like, in the Brittany Peninsula and the Normandy area and stuff, you can't really stop those. They're going to get ashore. You can only hope to kick them back. I mean, the British could try to go through Spain, especially if Spain activates as a Axis ally. It might be worth it in the summer of 43 to try and throw enough resources in there just to conquer Spain, so it has to be German units that garrison everything. If the Germans are nice and they attack Spain, then they're going to have to garrison all the ports and everything to guarantee that you don't get a foothold there. So there's lots of ifs, ands, and buts, so to speak, with this whole strategy. But 43 is usually sort of a cat and mouse game. What can the West get away with? What can the Germans keep the West from getting away with? Which is all this is really all about. So I'm just checking on my, did I have, okay, so I have one convoy down there. I have 2 convoys here, that's 3, where's my, and then 1 in Gibraltar is 4. Right, so I'm going to have to spend a lot of my points doing that kind of stuff. I only have 19 points. I'm going to need to try and replenish my stuff here pretty soon. So I don't want to go too awful crazy. Now the question is how do I attack this? Because he's got an armored unit sitting here now. That was the trick with the Germans, to get an armored unit there and an infantry unit over here. It's very hard. Technically, I could have moved like this Italian, away and put the German infantry here, but I almost want to tempt him to bring the British up here so I can attack him in isolation and get rid of him. So this is a quandary for the British. How do you go about doing this? You do have an American surprise attack marker, but you really want to keep that for threatening invasions. The Americans could technically, I mean, I haven't taken anything, so I could undo my naval moves, and I could actually have the British bring the Americans in to Suez after the BEF, moves out. Boy, no good alternatives here. Well, I think one of the things I want to do is I want to keep his total number of sorties down. He's going to end up with 4, 2 for each of these guys because they're both in supply. So let's see if we can suppress that Italian aircraft. Stop that. Because at +1, I might be able to get a DR2 on him. Oh, I have to commit. Yeah, okay, so I got him up by only using 1 sortie there. He does have a tanks marker, so this guy's going to be a 2. I can come at him with a 3, 4, 5, be a +3 to a +2 on this Italian infantry. And then he can just retreat. Wow. A little tougher than I thought. Let's zoom in a little bit. This is a bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. Because I can't move because of this Turk. I'm going to attack once this way with the BEF, but then I have to put something in Suez. What have I done? I don't know something? I'm going to be undoing my naval moves because I want to see how this goes first. I might bring the Americans down here. Oh, I can't. I don't think I can undo that. I can't undo that. Alright, just never mind. I can't undo an attack. Let me undo an attack. It's not supposed to let me do that. Alright, we're gonna, what do we do? Because they're running the same problem over here. I'm -1, 2, 3. I'm -1, 2, 3 here. Best I can get here is a +2 to a +2, and then maybe another +2 to a 0. Which means best I'm going to get is a DD. Might get an AS to start with. That'd be 4 points. That would leave me with 15, which would be 3 for this. Do I have anything to build? I don't have anything to build. So it would be 3 for this airplane, 3 for this convoy. Going to have to be 3 for this convoy because I don't want to get, well, maybe not. So that'd be 6. If I drop the fleet and this, that would be 14. Yeah, that's about as good as I'm going to get. Oh no, I had to get this one down to 0, didn't I? So I got to put 3 here. Yeah, it looks like I'd have to do like 4 convoys in the airplane. Well, all we can do is try, right? Making a valiant attempt to recapture Suez and Egypt. So we're going to start over here first, I think. We're going to attack here. Hello. Now the question is, do I want to use my partisans here? You might say, well, use your partisans so you can get through there. The partisans and the free forces, I think ultimately the Germans are going to be able to push me out of here. I'm just hoping to make them take a few turns to do it, which will give me time to get more units available. I'm looking at probably losing both of these units, is what I'm thinking is going to end up happening to me. I might be able to pull the BEF out before he can crush me. We'll see. But let's go ahead and attack here. I'm not going to use the partisans. So right now I am. Why am I attacking with a +1? That's not right. +2 for a tank, +1 for this. -1 for city. Oh, -1 for city rough, -1 for canal. That's right. So it's not poor weather. So I'm right now on net +1. I'm going to throw in my airplane. He's going to throw in his tank because, hey, you need to stop him now. Hopefully get an AA. So we confirm, and we go, and we go, and we go. There we go. And he got an AS. So that's what he wanted. Now, from the British standpoint, it's like, do I bother? Maybe I don't bother. If I'd have been successful, like I'd gotten a DD, let's say, then I would have gone in and attacked him wherever he was to try and eliminate him, and be sitting here trying to limit what the armored unit can do, and then gone in with the BEF and maybe gone ahead and taken out like the Turk, again, trying to just sort of expand myself out, either taking out the Turk or, and then moving up to take out Port Said, because then he can't just move into Suez, he has to fight through me, and so on and so forth. If I had succeeded there. By getting crushed so quickly, I can just stop and say, I'm just going to save my points. Because that lets me do 8 in 3 threes, which is an airplane and 2 convoys, right? And I can do a fleet and the bomber, or I can do another convoy and the bomber. So I'm going to stop. I'm done. 8th Army had to be successful for me to keep going with that offensive, because it's just not worth it to spend the points to not get anywhere. If he'd have gotten across this part of the Nile and pushed up, adjacent to Alexandria and stuff, then the BEF's job would have been to push it out, try and maybe take Port Said, to push the Italian Navy away, and kind of give me a bubble that lets me contemplate bringing the American army in here instead of, oh, that's what I was going to do. Wait a minute. I was thinking about whether I should move the American army to threaten to go after Norway. Didn't I? I need to think about that. I want to do that. So I could put the American army here. No, because then I have to use up this convoy here that I want to have at 0 for supply purposes. So until I get the American convoy down and I get the 4th fleet over here, nope, we're just going to leave this. This is fine. We're going to leave this. We're not going to threaten to go get Norway yet. We just really can't go there. Confirm. Tracing supply lines. Let's get rid of all the things that don't need convoys. All the guys in home countries and stuff. So the American convoy down here that had 2 will now have 5. And this is the one that's in Gibraltar. So that's good. That works out really well. So we can just supply all. You can't intercept anything at this point. And we're done. Now we go into the Soviets. And a Soviet is just like, this is a bookkeeping exercise. We want to make sure that we have at least 5 left, right? So, one of the things you can do is the important units, like the shock unit, it just moves up towards the front somewhere. Just get him on the road. Now, I do have a fair number of stuff to build, so I'm probably not going to do a lot of movement this turn. It's going to be like him. Like I said, the armored units, I'm just going to rail those around. Just so I don't have to remember to do this in the future, I'm going to drop an infantry in Tum. If it will get there, thank you very much. And then this guy goes here. Goes here. Alright, so that takes care of that. Now, that leaves me 8 plus 5. Is there anybody else that's really important to move? Any shock army? Oh, this guy. This was the one. So I might as well just go ahead and move him down a rail line, because he's can't strategically move him if he's sitting on the fence there. Okay. So now, if you take away 5, that leaves me 6 guys I can build. So I'll probably put down like infantry or shock armies like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in Rostov. And that's what I plan on doing. So I'm done with the Soviets. You have October, this October build, November, December, and then through the November build phase. So that's like 13 turns that you do nothing. 13, 14 turns. October, November, December, and 11. That's 14 turns that you can't do anything with the Soviets other than play around in the Diplomacy Cup. So they're going to save, 5 points a turn just in case they need to like reload the cup to dilute it on the Germans, or maybe take the chance and put a political success in there to help the West. You never know. Okay. Or the West might load in a political success hoping the Russians pull it, and then the Russians would say, hey, take that pro marker out of Spain, kind of thing. So that's what this is all about. It's just trying to make sure that I can be in there and still build, a few units a turn. Supply all with no convoy. Nobody should be out of supply. All right, so we're going to do improvement. Now, I specifically saved 13 for the Italians. So we go our convoy, airplane, and then we get to pick a fleet. And I'm going to take the fleet that doesn't have an airplane on it. I'm going to take this fleet, the first fleet, because that also is the convoy that has the most sorties. Only has one sortie on it. So he's got the most sorties available, so he's the one I want to keep alive. Now, the Germans have 18. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Amazingly enough, I have 18. That means I can't build this armored unit, but I'm not really worried about the armored unit right now. Well, actually, I can let... There's one of these airplanes here I can let go. The 5th Luft we will not do. Or is it the 6th? No, I want to keep the 6th down. The 5th can go. So the 5th won't be done. We'll go there. Do the 6th. And we want to get the convoy down because pretty soon as soon as he starts threatening me, I'm going to have to, like, 2 up, 2 down. Keep this infantry unit in supply. Unless I can get some political stuff going and get Sweden on my side, I'm going to have troubles in Norway. And then I'm going to do this airplane, which was before his bombers come back. And then I got to do the one in the Middle East here. And then this one is on its way to the Middle East, so I have to make sure it's there to help interdict any shenanigans in Season 22. Matter of fact, I don't know if I'm going to send this to the Middle East. I think I might sail this guy over to Palermo so I can intervene in 21, 19, and 22 with my airplane. Okay. And that's what I'm going to do there. I don't have anything else to do. I can build my armored unit. Okay, I'm done. And the West. Okay, easy. Do the airplane. Do the American fleet. Do the American convoy. Do the American fleet. Do the American convoy. That was simple. This is the first RAF, so we're going to get him down to 0 because the enemy is nigh. Now I've got 14 left, and I really want to make sure that I do Bomber Command. So I'm going to go ahead and do Bomber Command. Okay, so now I have 10 left. So that means either 1 4 and 2 6s or 3 6s. Now, we talked about up here, where'd it go? Where'd it go? I want to make sure I get this guy down to 0 because of supply stuff. Okay. Then what I was thinking, much as I'd like to spend the points, since I only have like 2 more of these things I can do, I'm going to take a shot on... What's the convoy down here? Convoy points. Yeah. He's at a 4. So I should be okay with him. What's the Middle East one look like? He's a 4. The Middle East one, is that the one that's at 6? Yeah, he's got to maintain himself as a threat. Okay, now I only have 4 left. I'm going to go ahead and do Med Fleet. And then I'm done. Okay. Now the Soviets are not going to improve anything. It's pointless to waste your points there. The Germans can only build the Panzer, which they'd like to build a surprise attack marker. They're definitely not going to build it in the east. They're going to go ahead and build it probably in Aachen. Is it Aachen or Metz? I've built it in Metz. like building in conquered city. I confirm that, and then we should be the Russians. And this is where I was going to build 6 units. Let's go over to the Soviet Union, and we're going to go, let's see, we're going to build a shock army in Kursk. And we're going to build a shock army in Rostov. Maybe? It's 2. I think I'm going to go ahead and build this armored unit in Bryansk. And then I'm going to build this shock army in Smolensk. Then I'm going to build the infantry unit in Orel. And I have 5 points left, so I'm done. I stop. Confirm. Ta-da. So now we're to the Huzababa. Now the Germans have to make a decision. If they pull a political failure, Greece will activate, or they will put a pro marker in Sweden. Probably put a pro marker in Sweden, because I really can't defend Greece at the moment. If I pull a pro axis marker, I can activate Spain, which leads to another whole little mini game that we'll be playing around with. If I pull the pro western marker, nothing happens. So I have 7 nothing happens. 1, either I end up with another guy to fight, or how many guys have I conquered? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I really don't want to conquer another one. I don't. Getting to 9 is not a problem, but if somehow I end up having to conquer 2 more, taking me up to 10, then I'm losing the advantage of the strategic warfare modifier when the Russians come back in. So at this point, I think I'm just going to go ahead and pull. I mean, I saved. Oh, that's right. The Germans can't do anything. Germans specifically spent out so that they couldn't pull, so they couldn't get the political failure. So now it's up to the West. The West pulls a political failure, it goes, whoosh, Spain comes in. They pull a pro marker, Spain goes away. They pull the Axis pro marker, Axis has no chance. They have to either get a political success or start conquering things. So it's definitely worth a while for the U.S. to say, yeah, we're going to pull a marker. Pull a marker, thank you. And political failures from the West. So the Axis can do its thing. So I got a very poor result. We're going to go ahead and activate Spain. Why is it not giving me my... There we go. So I have to place my Spaniards. That's an important port. This guy's gonna go here, I guess. How far can they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. So German armor can't really get here. The British could go off adventuring if they wanted to. I can't really stop them if they want to. All I can do is limit what they can do. Where do I put the last guy? Valencia or down here by Gibraltar as well. I'll put him there for now. I'll move him later. Okay, now the Soviets have an interesting dilemma. If they pull the pro-Western marker, that's bad. If they pull the pro-Axis marker, that's good. If they pull a no event, that's bad because it dilutes the cup. The British don't want to see a political failure, so they're going to tell them, we don't need that anymore. So, as bizarre as it sounds, I'm actually thinking of putting a political success in the cup. Now, I could just say, never mind. Okay? If I put a political success in the cup, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There'd be 9. So it'd be 2 and 9 for the Germans. Then if they don't pull one of their successes, then it's a 2 and 9 for the British. Otherwise, it's a 1 and 8 for the British if the Germans pull one of theirs. And if they pull a no event, it would be a 2 and 8. So at this point, what we're trying to get here is keep Sweden from getting to the Germans, right? So the Germans are going to have to line up to not only help me through Spain, but they're probably going to have to go through North Africa. What do we do? Well, this is a debate I really don't know how to resolve, but I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go ahead and put a political success in and hope that the Germans don't pull next turn. And there we are. We're done with this turn. So we're done with October 1942. I am going to stop here. I would like to have some comments from people on whether you would like to see this continue to be a sort of a live stream, or if you would like me to sort of record it and edit it down into the most important bits and not have to sit here and look at my strategic die rolls and all of that. I'm not sure how much you are actually enjoying going all this. I don't get a lot of comments. I only get sporadic ones. And although I see quite a few, at least quite a few of you are recorded as having viewed these things, I don't see a lot of thumbs up either. So I'm assuming people aren't really liking what I'm doing. That's the only way I can read the metrics. So leave me comments. Tell me how you'd like me to proceed here. I am going to end this at this point. Have to do some contemplating on the Axis side on how I'm going to go about kicking the British out and then trying to make sure that they don't break out into Spain, and before I get the German army there to kind of deal with the British army in the summer over there, and then going through French North Africa, because I don't want to go through there in poor weather. I want to do that in the summer. So it's going to have to be a blitz through French North Africa and a pounding of the guys in Gibraltar. And I can't do that until I have an airdrop marker, because it's going to have to be an assault. So I'm going to have to like line up 2 assaults or maybe 3, and then use the heavy artillery in one and some airplanes and so on and so forth. This is a whole mess. It's actually worthwhile. If you look at the Vassal game, it's called the CUCU campaign. The stream on there shows the desperate defenses that I put up to try and hang on to Gibraltar. I was completely eliminating fleets and then rebuilding them. So now that I'm coming into a point where I'm going to need to do something with fleets, because I'm invading into Norway, I'm running short of sorties, whereas normally with the Western allies, you usually have so many sorties on your fleets and stuff that it's not a problem. But this is because I was hanging on Gibraltar so hard. And it's worthwhile to hang on to Gibraltar as hard as I am, because if you can hang on to Gibraltar, the Italian fleet stays in the Med where it belongs. Okay, if it gets to break out, it can help with an invasion of England, or it can just screw up supply lines wherever you're going, Norway or wherever, just because, like I said, the Italian fleet isn't that great, but it can run up your sorties and then, an interception by a German airplane or the German surface action marker with a submarine, and all of a sudden, you're at 6 sorties on your supply, and somebody's going out of supply or going to limited supply or whatever, and all of a sudden the whole offensive that you're trying to mount across the channel or whatever just stalls. It just stops for a turn while you recover and get that all straightened out. So, and at this point, from this point on in the game for the Germans, they want to reestablish their medlock because of the strategic warfare advantage, the Suez thing. And it would be nice if they got Gibraltar locked out, because then they could use the Italian fleet that way. But if they can keep the British contained at Gibraltar, the entire game is delay from this point forward. That's all it's going to be for the Germans. That's all you're going to see me playing, which is why I'm not sure you guys want to see that, because it's very, very boring, especially for the next 12 turns or whatever. There's going to be a little bit of action in the Suez, and there might be some, random siege attacks in Gibraltar, and the rest of it's just going to be us moving our units to get them in position for the next phase, which is when the Soviets come back in and there's enough American units on the board that they can actually help the British threaten like an invasion of Norway or an invasion of Spain. That's not going to happen until sometime in the summer of 43, and so on. So it's going to be very, very boring here for the next 10, 11 turns. So I'm just wondering if I maybe should just record those turns separately and then present them as videos. If that would be more palatable. Palatable? I'll say the word. Yes, I will. Than what I'm doing here. Because this, originally I always had 2 to 3 people almost always in the chat room with me, and we would discuss things about the game or whatever. And here I'm just sort of monologuing the entire game, which I do very often with my Vassal module games, is I just sort of do a monologue explaining what we discussed and what we're doing. So here I'm just explaining my logic process with everything that I'm doing. And while that might be useful, I can do that without actually, posting up a live stream. I can do a recording and then edit out all the boring parts. Kind of when you get there, it's just fast forward it and then things like that. So let me know in the comments if you guys are interested. I will be streaming again probably next Monday. It's going to be about a week in between because this is Easter week, so I have other things I'm going to be doing during the week, and I'm also working through, is it Tuesday through Saturday or something? I don't know. I have to go look at my calendar. But I'll be working most of this week as well, so next stream for this will be next Monday is when I'm going to schedule it. And depending on the comments and everything that I get, I might not make it an actual stream. I might just start recording these and then trying to edit them down to reasonable chunks of time where you don't have to watch me just sort of move all my units around and whatever, and then I can pick up at the point of, okay, I got done moving, and this is the way the line looks, at the end of the turn, where the Germans moved here and the Russians moved there, and things like that, things that are relatively boring to sit and watch happen because there's not a lot of die rolls. The only things you're really going to be interested in is attacks at Gibraltar, the attacks at Suez, and the counterattacks, and so on and forth. All right. So, with that in mind, whoops. There I am. So, I'm John608. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. If you really like what you see, subscribe, hit the notify button, and you'll be notified when I upload another video or I schedule another stream. Mostly I stream Hex and Counter War games. I am also streaming a role-playing computer game called Bard's Tale. I'm almost actually to the end of the first volume. It's a 3-volume thing. It's been remastered, put up on Steam. That one's running into kind of the same problem that I have here. I seem to be doing mostly a monologue. I don't have a lot of people in chat to talk with. So I'm thinking I might change that up a little bit. I'm also exploring another computer role-playing game called Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is interesting. That was inspired me what inspired me to buy that game was actually another fairly famous YouTuber. At least to me, he is Quill18. He does a lot of computer video games, Stellaris. He did Hearts of Iron 4. He did like a tutorial, 7-step tutorial for it. And several, I mean, he does lots of various different video games and stuff. He's fairly prolific at it. And I saw him do sort of a Kingmaker run through, like the first, I don't know, 14 hours of gameplay or something. And it just it inspired me to go look at it, and I was intrigued. I went ahead and purchased it, and I've been tinkering around with it, and I'm thinking I might try and do something similar to what he did, sort of a half-hour episodes or so, 45-minute episodes, just showing you how, the game plays and what my take is on it versus his. I also will be doing, in the next couple of months, I will be doing a video on the Vassal module for Vietnam 1965 to 1975. It is a GMT reprint. They cleaned up the rules some. They didn't change any rules. They just there were some wording ambiguities that are now very clear on what they meant, what the designer actually meant for that to do. Some errata type things where they misprinted something, things like that. So they updated the Vassal module for it. The game has been reprinted. I have my copy, and I thought I would do sort of a step-by-step through the setup for a campaign game. Then I would go through and play like a turn, and then at the first interface, I would do another video that says, this is how the interface goes, and go at step-by-step, so that's sort of an instructional thing. As far as the actual operations and things, it's fairly straightforward. You don't really need a big tutorial on the operations phase, but I might do a couple of those as well. So those are some more videos that are on the horizon. I am planning on finding my opponents again for Starship Troopers, so those are on the horizon as well for this upcoming summer. What else? I did get someone say they were interested in trying to do the Civil War, 1861 to 1865 by Victory Games. I went in and had modified the module. I need to go in and tinker with it. Basically, I brought back the hidden leader, the WGA version of the module. I took their module and modified it to have the hidden leaders put back in it, and then I was going to add to that and put in the randomly pulling leaders instead of the module they have. The leaders are not really hidden. You can flip over each other's leaders anytime you want, and you can roll dice and count to pull the leaders out of the pool. So since I know how to code those in the Vassal module programming language, I thought that I would add those, and that's pure fluff. You don't really need it to play the game. Their module is very, very good. There is rumor, I think it's Compass Games is talking about reprinting that one as well. So check that out. What else is out there? What else have I been doing? I think that's it for now. I've been doing lots of videos on YouTube. You can check out my channel and you'll see that. But I haven't really gotten a lot of feedback on what people would like to see. I have a fairly large board game collection. Most of them have Vassal modules, so if there's something in my Board Game Geek, which is Gen 608, by the way, just like I sign off here, if you want to see some other game series, please let me know. I'll either find an opponent and we'll do something, or I'll do some solo stuff and explain rules and things for people. I kind of enjoy it. It keeps my mind stimulated. That's why I play these games. Keeps my mind sharp. Yeah, that's it. So enough of the commercial. I've been yakking for like the last 15 minutes or something. I should have ended this video a long time ago. So until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.